Noah has a natural acumen for this kind of stuff. He's good at it. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to contribute anything right now to it or participate that much. But on my website is a letter from the DOE from the state of Hawaii. And they said that they would fund a pilot program for me to come into their schools and recreate their math. And unfortunately, I just can't get to getting that grant done because my grant writers and people, I'm wearing too many hats, and at the rate I'm going, it's never going to happen. So I'm not actually working on that now. But if I was, my main priority is a textbook for schools and the same old products that everybody talks about, games, explaining it. And what this all has to do is all has to do with labyrinths and mazes and matrices, and that's what this is. Okay, so you asked what I said. I said that I have found the reason the universe curves and warps. Okay. Einsteinian relativistic physics is sometimes referred to as the curvature of space-time reality. Okay. And the truth is I'm using their words, but I'm meaning different things. So I'm actually a sitting duck for criticism and ridicule because they have their own definitions by these words and I have my own definitions.
Why is it important to know that?
The curvature of the space-time, why is it important? Okay, let's think about it. In electricity, you have what's called friction and resistance. It's called, I can't say it right, hysteresis, parasitics. Essentially, it turns into waste heat, which in turn, in return ends up into energy loss and greater expense and auxiliary overhead, such as for refrigeration. One of the biggest expenses for supercomputers is their refrigeration system alone, trying to keep them from burning up.
Is that why the current space rockets are junk?
No, they're junk because of the fact that combustion or explosion is the weaker of forces.
So it wastes a lot.
Well, I tend to be terse, and I don't do it intentionally.
I'm working on a major space program right now, so it's important that I'm hearing this information.
Okay, I haven't cited this example probably in years, in a decade, but my friend Scott, a mechanical engineer, did a very good job helping me because it took me 20 years to apply my work into technology. Anyway, he said it's a lot harder to push a mule. Okay, if you're pushing him, it's much harder. He said, and that's what we're doing with rocketry. I'm just using an analogy. He says it's easier to pull him. Okay, pulling is implosion. Okay. Anyway, rocketry is when I'm so critical of it, I can be critical from it. I can really go at it. It's limited because it has a single axis. You have a nozzle. Okay. When I make my devices, I make them multiple axes instead of a single axis. But they're made out of components. I mean, I'm going to seem like way out there, but they're made out of metal and they're made out of ceramics and whatever you're igniting and stuff like that. I mean, and you have to return to Earth for more, and you're bringing your fuel along with you on top of it and blah, blah, blah. I actually use the subatomic particles and the energy itself as the propulsion system. Let me give you an example then. We have a tornado. Again, it's based on the root toroid, okay? And it's more powerful, I'm not exaggerating, am I, that a tornado is more powerful than 100 nuclear bombs, okay? They're devastating, okay? And you don't see any engine, you don't see any, carburetor, you don't see any transmission, okay?
Something that drives it.
Say it again?
Or something that drives it.
Or something that drives it. And it sustains itself. I mean, they go on for days, weeks sometimes. And they explain them as thermal indifferences, blah, 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 but that's an understatement. It doesn't scratch the surface, is what it is. It can be any continuous medium. In water, it's a hurricane. In a solar system, it's made out of planets. In electricity, we say electricity spirals over the, it doesn't go straight along the copper. They say it goes over the surface and it spirals, okay? So when you ask me what's the significance of the curvature and how it relates to what I'm thinking, okay, the trick is if you know the pathway that something wants to take naturally, then you don't have to force it. An example would be a cyclotron or a particle accelerator. It has huge correcting magnets, okay? They have to force the energy to go in a straight line. They have to do cryogenics. They have to use liquid nitrogen to take the temperature down, right? So as to, again, force it to do what they want. And Scott had a saying for that too. He called that a Band-Aid approach, okay? Because you don't know how it works, you have to then do all these things to it. That's why I'm so harsh on rocketry, is because it's more to me an example of ignorance.